Okay, there we go. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that,
Okay.
Jen.
Yeah, no worries. So we'll just start from where I started from. I'm a director with Pampered Chef. This is month 3, so I really have to have a good push on the last couple of weeks of this month in order to maintain my title, and that's going to happen. So, like I said, this is my second time with Pampered Chef. I rejoined in October of 2019. They had a fabulous kit offer. It was like $59, and I actually reached out to my consultant at the time and I told her that I wanted to join. So, because I knew the product and I wanted to make a little extra cash. So I've always loved sales. I graduated from marketing way back in 1989. I say that I got my love of sales from my mom and my gift of gab from my father. So it was a pretty good combination there. I worked for CN Rail when I got out of college, and then I started selling cars. I did that for 5 years, and I
Cool.
did the financing of the car sales as well. My old boss used to tell me that my customers didn't know they had bought a car until they were actually sitting in the car with the keys in the ignition. So I loved sales, love that. When we moved back to the Miramichi, which is about an hour and a half away from Moncton, that's where we lived. I taught figure skating. That's had been my sport growing up. And then I decided to open my own scrapbooking store as well. I ran that for 3 years. And then I sold wedding and prom dresses. So I've had a varied career, but I love helping people. I think that's one thing that people can sense from a person, and that is someone who truly desires to come alongside someone and serve them in a genuine way. And that's always been my method. And as we've probably heard, I know I've heard in training before, the know, like, and trust factor is very important. So you want people to remember your face and how you've treated them when they are thinking of buying your products. This is one thing that I always think of too. You need to be able to listen to understand, not listen to respond. I think this is a key to being successful in any aspect of your life. You can learn how to do this and not just be waiting for the person to stop talking so that you can get your point of view in there. It takes practice for sure. I was case in point, I was out walking with one of my best friends today, and I had told her what I did. She had told me all about her day, and I told her about my day, that I got my hair done, and then I started with a headache, and I went and laid down for like I had a nap for 4 hours, which is totally not me. And then I said something else, and I said, I think I'm going to go back and lay down when I get home from this walk. And she goes, oh, do you need a nap? And I go, well, I just had a 4 hour nap. She goes, did you tell me that already? So it's like, she wasn't really listening to what I was saying. She was listening in order for her to talk about what she wanted to talk about again. So anyway, so I feel that that's a big problem that we have today, is that we're not really listening to hear people. We're just listening to sometimes get our own point of view in afterwards. But anyway, so selling authentically eventually leads to recruiting authentically. And I know that we hear that buzzword a lot. I'd actually, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my PowerPoint in there, Jenna. Um,
You should be
I'm
able
not
to.
sure. Yeah, can I share my screen? Can you let me share my screen?
Yeah, you should be good.
Let me just see here. You don't see that, do you? No.
Not yet.
Just a second. Uh, no, I'm not sure where I go to find that. Share? Is
Yep.
that it? Okay, and there it is. Can you see that?
It's
Yep.
coming.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay. So I wanted to put why isn't that going? The definition of being authentic. It's true to one's own personality, spirit, or character. It implies being fully trustworthy as according with fact. It also, another word, a synonym is genuine, implies actual character, not counterfeited, imitated, or adulterated. And you can also be bona fide, implies good faith and sincerity of intention. So I feel that it's so important for me because I feel that people can can be suspect of you, you know, from a long ways away. If they feel that you're just in it to make a sale, you really have to start from the get-go trying to get their trust. So the know, like, and trust factor. When I sold cars, there was a survey that was done on the three sleaziest professions out there, and televangelist was number one, prostitute was number two, and a used car salesman was number three. So I really strive to not be amongst those, you know, those sleazy professions. But I definitely didn't want to be lumped with the other first two for sure. Um, yeah, so when I ran my scrapbooking store too, I made it my point to learn as much about my customers as I could. I had about 300 customers. I had a little Rolodex thing, and I would keep their names and, you know, things that might have happened to their family or whatever. And I made the connections, those connections there. And in September of last year, so I had worked for an adult learning company for over 10 and a half years, and I was asked to come back. I'd been laid off in 2022, and then I'd been asked to come back last year, but to teach at a women's jail and to teach GED. So we have some of the most high profile offenders in Atlantic Canada currently in our jail. We had some of the most high profile offenders in our classroom from September right through to June when I left for the summer. We had first degree murderers, second degree murderers, child traffickers. And what I wanted to do with them, though, because these women can um, they can smell bullshit. Excuse my language, but they can smell that coming like a mile away. And so I've made it my business to come alongside these women, learn their stories, listen to them when they have issues, and um, and I grew to love most of them as if they were, you know, my own children. Actually, most of them are really, really young. Some very, very sad stories, and the stories are often heartbreaking. And when I went on leave for the summer, they made me cards. They only get 5 crayons, and they made me cards with really, really sweet sentiments on them. Some of them I won't see anymore because they'll be moved on to the federal penitentiary. And but some of them will still be there when I go back in September. But I figure if I can be authentic in this situation, I can be authentic anywhere. So when I came back to PC in 2019, I knew that it was going to be different already. The was so much more support than what I'd had way back in 1999. And I recruited 2 people the very first week that I was in business. So my business has had its ups and downs, like many of us. And what was I going to say? But I have made it my business to be trustworthy and available to my customers and even to other consultants' customers that they've reached out to me. Their consultant's no longer in business, and can I help them out? And you know, that's a big thing too, is being willing to go that extra mile for people that, like I said, may have their consultant may be gone, and if you're able to do that, that builds that know, like, and trust factor as well. Recruiting has been a bit slow, but that's on me, and I know what I have to do in order to grow my team. Um, and but I've also learned my lesson after recruiting just for the sake of recruiting, and those people are no longer with my team. And I don't know if any of you are like that, but you know, you think you have somebody good and maybe you didn't ask all the questions that you should have. So now these are some of the things that I look for when I'm looking at team members. I like to find somebody like-minded. I always say that, a like-minded individual who's authentic, who has integrity, who has a servant heart. And what I mean by that is someone who's willing to go above and beyond for their customers and for their teammates as well. Somebody that's empathetic and somebody that's IT savvy, because I'm not always on the ball with the IT stuff. So if I could get some young, you know, fresh, young, out of college students that want to make some extra cash and know their way around Snapchat or whatever, right? So those are who I'm looking for now. Um, uh, some of my consultants that I've had currently, and some of them in the past, have been past customers, and I'm sure that we all have a few of those on our team. And so if you're building those connections, sometimes that takes like a few years to recruit somebody like that. I know one of my consultants, um, Dean, he used to sell Pampered Chef, but then he was a customer of mine, and I would ask him, I'm sure I asked him for 2 years if he wanted to join the team and when he was going to join the team, and then he finally said yes. So he's one of my consultants, and like those are relationships that take time to build. But when you build that strong foundation with either a past customer or past host or what have you, then those are going to be good teammates for sure. And so you have to have good conversations about what this business might look like. Um, you explain to them in a real way that what they can expect from the company, from your team, and how it all works. So again, it boils down to being authentic with them. Not everybody's going to make $20,000 in their first year or sell $20,000 in their first year. Our we have to be realistic when we share that information with them. Even, when I first rejoined the company, and they would say, who wants to make $1,000 a month? Well, not everybody's going to be making $1,000 or $2,000 a month. Since COVID, we're all it's a different business that we're in now. And back during COVID, like it was like the fish were just jumping in the boat. We had, people joining, sales were through the roof, and so it's a little different than what it was back in 2020, 2019, that type of thing. So, but your potential recruits need to know if this fit is right for them. And as we know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So it takes a lot of work, as you know. And we just need to be upfront and again, go back to that authentic conversation that you have with them. One way to do that is through a Google form. And here are some of the questions that you can ask on this Google form. Are you coachable? That is a big thing. If you have someone that does not want to take any advice, that knows everything about everything, then I don't think that's going to be a good fit. I know it's not going to be a good fit for me because I need to have somebody that is willing to learn from me and from others on the team and on the organization as well. And if they, I mean, it's great to run with a business, and I love having those types of consultants, but they also need to be coachable. And I've had many conversations with my consultants over the years, and those that do well always send me questions, and I always say, I'm always here for you, always here to answer your questions. So a Google form could just be the thing that you need to weed people out. And one of my favorite questions, if you thought you would not fail, what would your dream life look like? And that's always a good one to get an idea of where people are at. And explain the qualities and culture that your team has, and are they willing to work hard? My husband has said over the years, he said, if everyone could work as hard as you do, then you'd have like a fantastic team. But not everybody has the same work ethic as everybody else, right? It's just depends on what they want out of the business. So these are some of my things that I believe in when I onboard new team members. I've said this to them many times: to be kind, to be brave, believe in something, like anything at all, like whether it's, you're going to hit $200 this month, or you're going to hit, as Patty just did, level 3 free for all this month. So you have to believe. Yeah, it's exciting. Chase your dreams. You're never too old. to start a new dream or to start a new project. I just turned 61 in May, and I'm still, when our kids were just finishing school and whatnot, I said, we're telling these kids when they're 17 or 18 that they need to know what they want to do when they graduate high school. I'm like, I'm 61 and I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So it's never too old to chase your dreams. It's okay to make mistakes. I've made plenty. I know we all have, and it's whether or not you learn from them. Persevere. Not every day is going to be a good day, but there's good in every day. That's the old saying, and you just persevere through it, and you're not alone. There's always somebody to reach out to, and I've found and made so many good friends that from, most of them from the other side of the country now, right, Jenna? Yeah, and it's always great when we get together and we can bounce ideas off one another. And Jenna and I and Debbie and Michelle and who else? Is there anybody else in that group?
No, we haven't seen a couple in a while, so
Yeah. So 2 years ago, they started this Power 30 group, and we were meeting for 30 minutes every morning and just to work together and bounce ideas off one another, like I said. And we've kept this going now. When I was working, it was harder, but now that I'm off for the summer, I'm on there, and we meet at 9 a.m. My time, 6 a.m. Jenna's time, and yeah, so it's nice to be able to do that too with people, come alongside one another. So, what else do I have here? I guess that's all I had as far as what I had written down. And I don't know if that helped anybody or if anybody has any questions. Don't be shy.
I thought it was great. You gave us lots of great ideas. The piece that
Yeah.
I remind people is, the words that Jen shared are, amazing and things that she's looking for. Stop to think what you really want. They do not have to be the exact same words or the same sort of ideas and characteristics that Jen has, but that's what makes it great is we all have different personalities, different ways, and different things that will, fit well with you, both with teammates, with customers, and things like that. So take what she's done and make it your own. That's the whole authentic idea of what Jen's sharing about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because people, like I said, people can spot a phony like a mile away. They really can. And I see it. I mean, you walk into, so let's say, when I sold wedding dresses and prom dresses, and I hate when I go into a store and I try something on and I know it looks like crap. I know it's not really. And the salesperson is like, "Oh my God, that just looks so beautiful on you." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, it does not. I know." And so I would have these girls come in and they'd have these ideas of prom dresses or wedding dresses or whatever. And they'd put on something that they wanted. And I'm like, "Can you just, trust me for a minute? I'm going to go get something that I think might look lovely on you." And a lot of times that's what they would walk out of the store with, or they would order. And I've never been one to sugarcoat anything, even with our business. If I don't like a product, I don't really push the product. I don't know what you guys are like. It's one thing if they want to buy it, but if I'm not a guacamole lover. Now I've shared about the guac and serve. I know. I've shared about the guac and serve. Um, I think that's what it's called, and I have it at my markets and whatnot, but I haven't, I'm not doing live videos of it because I just I don't use it. So, yeah, and there's been a few. I mean, for the most part, I love all of our products, but there are some that I'm like,
It's
don't
a
know if
great
I'm,
point though, Jen, because if
yeah,
you have passion and you like the product,
yeah,
you're going to show that. You're going to have that energy beaming. If you're forcing yourself to start making a product or using a product that you really
absolutely.
don't have interest in, people
Yeah,
can start to feel it.
yeah,
Totally different if you're getting questions, things like that. By
yeah,
all means, you can ask. And that's one
Yeah.
thing too that Jen brings up about sharing. And you've got a team of people that are willing to sort of support and share.
Yep.
Use Team Sale or other groups you have, chat groups, that if you have never tried a product, be honest with your customer. I've never tried this, but I have a group of people that I will go get the answer from, and I will give you tips, tricks, whatever it is, in order to sort of support your customers in products that you may or may not.
Absolutely. I've done that. I've done that. And people appreciate that. And they know there's again, you're going the extra mile to find out what people are saying about a particular product. And I'll do that even in my VIP group. I go, now this is not something that I use all the time, but I have friends, I have consultant friends, and they use this on the daily. Right? So any questions?
I don't think so.
You guys are so quiet. You guys probably all, they probably all knew this stuff anyway. I'm probably preaching to the choir.
It's a great reminder. And I will
It
say,
is.
my day job is change management. People need to hear it 10 times, 3 channels before it sinks in. Plus, you never know where anyone is in their given day, month, week, or year.
Yeah.
You may have needed to hear this today. This is part of the reason why you guys popped on to this one. You guys wanted to hear about Jen's authentic self, which she is true to. I can attest to that. So yes, for sure. And I just wanted to add a quick note, if no one has any questions, that if you guys are interested in sort of doing that Power 30 is what we call it, but whatever it is, find people within Team Sale, find people within your org, find people wherever you may, because like Jen mentioned, one of the people is actually not in our org. She's from a completely different org. Start that group chat. Start it out as that. Start it out as a quick call that you do once a month, once a week, whatever works for you, so that you have that person to bounce off ideas, come up with things, hold yourself accountable. If you haven't watched the video from a couple weeks ago, Stacy Sandalek shared about the Power Hour. This is how
Yes.
you break your time out into an hour a day of doing work, but being very thoughtful of it. That's how this Power 30 sort of started for me. I was not putting in the pockets of work of my business when I needed to and when I had time. So this Power 30, this call that is scheduled every morning, is my, focus time on my business for what I need to get done. So like I said, that can start as a chat, can start as a text group, can start as a 1 month call, can start however you would like to sort of get that for yourself. And so then you're getting your authentic self from what Jen shared, and you're starting to do those activities from what Stacy shared in the Power Hour. And you're going to see how it all comes together and how this business can be so powerful when you put focus to it.
Absolutely. And I can see that in my own, like I said about recruiting, my recruiting has been way down. But when I stay focused and do the work and be my authentic self, and the other thing I just want to tell you, where we have, this is just totally random, but I was just thinking about it because we were in that booking blitz, and they were talking today about the fundraisers. That was one part of the little blitz today. When people have their birthdays pop up on Facebook, and you see that they've decided they want to raise funds for juvenile diabetes, kids help phone, whatever it is. I've been keeping track. I got a list of people recently that have had their birthdays, and that's what they wanted to raise money for. So I'm going to be reaching out starting tomorrow with these people. I didn't get a chance to do all the stuff I was supposed to do today, just because I wasn't feeling 110%. Anyway, but that's what I'm going to do. Every time I see somebody with that, those are things that you can do. It's easy. You just write down, like this one had kids help phone, and I'm just going to send her a message. Hey, Barb, see that you were looking to raise money for the kids help phone. Pampered Chef is offering in August, blah, blah, blah. So those are great little ideas too. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
Perfect.
So
Fabulous.
yeah.
A great idea.
You're welcome, Stacy. I'd seen her comment there. Thanks, Stacy.
Anyone else have any questions for Jen?
Because if not, I'm going to go have a snack and go to bed.
Yeah, go get some rest. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome, Penny. Can't wait to meet you.
Yes, it'll be great.
I always put
Thanks,
my last
Mary.
pitch in. Remember, every Monday, 7 p.m., except for on holidays, we do have this call. So please share with your teammates, share with your friends, and let's grow this group as much as we can. Next week is Courtney Marchand, and she is sharing all about Project Broadcast and Connection Point, which again ties into some of the conversation that Andrea had around the texting parties and the bundles that she was sharing about. That is the program and the software she is using. So if you're interested, be sure to check that out. You do not
It's going to
need
be good.
or do not need to sign up in order to attend. She's just going to share about it, and then you guys can sort of decide from there what you would like to do.
Perfect. That's great.
Okay.
Thanks, Gayleen. I see Gayleen there too. Thanks, Jenna, for helping.
You're welcome. Have a great day, guys.
Organizing.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See everyone.
you.
Have a good night. Bye.